Greetings and welcome to Grounded. So this is a game that was put out by Obsidian Entertainment this year. It came out back in September. It is a survival game where you are shrunk down, and it is fairly fun. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. So I figured I'd do a playthrough of it and see if you guys enjoyed it. Plus, I haven't made it that far in. I mainly stick around in the grassland area and have just played around with learning the mechanics of the game. I currently have gotten rid of all of my saves. So we're going to start a new game here. And it can be up to 4-person co-op. There are 3 basic difficulty levels. The mild, it's more forgiving. Friendly fire is off. Medium is the default setting. You manage thirst, hunger, health, and stamina while you fight to survive. And woe is the highest difficulty. Most punishing way to live in the tiny life. Bugs are tougher, vitals are harder to keep filled, and everything breaks faster. And of course you can play it with just creative with bugs, or a custom. And in the custom settings, you can change a lot of the default settings and basically customize it to how you want to play. Now one thing, building integrity. Multi-level buildings will need to follow structural support rules to be able to be built into taller and larger bases. Now, the only way to earn achievements in this game is to play on one of these 3 difficulties. By default, the structural support needed for buildings is off on all of these, even in woe mode. So I was a little disappointed with that I have to play a custom setting to have those settings active. But other than that, it's a fun game. So we're going to play Pete here.
My name's Peter. My friends call me Pete.
And they have 3 different things you say when you select
Ready
them.
for adventure. Do you like role-playing games? My name's Peter.
Yeah, and then it'll cycle back through. But yeah, Pete kind of fits me, so we're going to play Pete. And you get to name your yard. I'm going to name it after the street I spent most of my childhood on. Triana Boulevard. And I love the music in this game. It has a very Stranger Things feel. The game itself is set in like the late 80s, early 90s. And I really like the cutscenes. They're real nice. And the music in them is great. But yeah, we're going to load in here and start a game. And probably play a couple of days. An episode. I think that would probably be a good length. At least until I get to the point where I'm doing a lot of trimming like I do in my other...
That was for me, you Bellbees! You think you outsmarted me? The mighty Muldoon? I don't think so, Yokes Girth!
Stay tuned for what happens next on Yokes Girth. Now a word from our sponsor.
Kids, are you ready for a new wild and wacky puncho fruit flavor? Introducing Apricot. It's a punch to the gut. So stop by, fill up, and make sure you get your Billy Hog hot dog before you jet away.
Good morning, Brook Hollow. Today is October 20, 1990. This is your news. We have a special breaking report. The police department has released information that more local teenagers have gone missing. They were last seen earlier this week, and the only connection between the teenagers is that they are all students at Brook Hollow High School. This could be linked to the disturbing trend of other possible abductions and missing teenagers from our otherwise quiet town. If anyone has seen the teenagers or has any other information, please contact the police department. The mayor of Brook Hollow has put a curfew into effect for anyone under 18 starting tonight. Now to other news. In the business world, prominent practical technology signs a huge deal with.
Now most of the brands in this game are made up for the game itself. Yoked Girth is kind of a He-Man. Now the parachute implies this was dropped from a high altitude, like a plane.
Whoa, Pete. Oh, looks like you really stepped in it this time. Just where in the world are you? Hello? Hello? All right, Pete. Remember your scout training. Step 1, get your bearings.
So there are 4 playable characters, but there are 5 slots in this chest. That implies to me either there's going to be a 5th playable character or there's something else, some other things here as well. And it basically is just going over. You don't have to do these, the movement and all of that. That's just the helpful tips popping up. Now if you go to this screen, the pause screen, you have access to the survival guide, which is basically your user manual. It'll give you the default controls and everything and an explanation about the game, your Scabby operating system. It'll tell you how to run, jump and glide, crouch, jump, attack. You have a basic attack and a charged attack. You can huck just about anything, throwing it. Your interact and your block ability. And if you get your block timing perfectly, you get a perfect block, and that prevents you from taking any damage. You can just hold down block, but things can sometimes get through your block and you'll take a little damage. Other than that, it gives you a lot of the default information about the game, your vitals, and the radar dongle that pops up. It's a radar dongle that can detect various signals, and it will glow more the closer you are to the object, basically. It also explains the hot pouch slots. You can actually assign them to where it will pull things out or pin them. And you have radials for your hot pouch and for construction. But yeah, more information will pop up in here as you unlock features later in the game. Now here, you can basically...
Hey, a common example of the Formicidae family.
Hi, little ant.
Look at that ant go.
Ants are neutral. I really don't like having to fight them. There are ways to collect red ant parts without having to kill red ants. I'm not sure about the later ants, but we'll check on that. Of course, you have your access to your map. You can see where you start. You can set waypoints. You can clear your waypoints. And you can basically tell a lot just by looking at it. This is the shed. That's a turned over grill. There's a picnic table, a sandbox. This is the porch and the house. This is a hedge. These are all stepping stones that go around a pond here. That's a tire. And I believe... yeah, this is a trash can and a bunch of trash bags. You can tell a lot of features just by looking at the map in general. Like that's a rake. That looks like a branch. That looks like a board. You know, pretty easy to spot general features. There's the oak tree. And your quests actually have some pretty neat dialogue that'll explain things to you. Where are you? How did you get here? It looks like you are shrunk and possibly in someone's backyard. Look around to see what you can find to make sense of your exploration or your situation. You have a data tab. You start with the Scabby. It's a cutting-edge biomonitoring scanner bracelet system in a familiar wristwatch form factor. Device appears to also send and receive FM stereo signals. And you have a tattered manual filled with instructions for interacting with the Scabby on your wrist, plus a lot of oddly specific information about yard survival. Shortcuts to the manual are found on the pause and death screens. Now, as we get more data, more tabs will pop up here, and your operating system, it'll explain what all of the different icons on it mean. Why is it not scrolling down with middle mouse button? But yeah, you can see all the different icons on here. And you can change your mode. You have a classic mode, you have a nighttime mode, You have a high contrast mode, and you have an LCD mode. And you can unlock more flavor schemes through the course of the game. And of course, like every survival game, it's all about gathering resources and managing your inventory.
Signal detected.
What's that? It sounds like a radio signal. It must be being transmitted from nearby. Oh, wow. My scout training doesn't have a merit badge for this.
Now you find landmarks by actually looking at them more than actually being at them. That's the reason I didn't see this until I turned to look at it. Now if I go to my data, I have places. I have the baseball, unofficial branded Chunky Chubbs baseball. Chunky Chubbs official big league baseball. Little Slurp, find water. Alright, so your bracelet has picked up strange radio signal. The signal itself is unintelligible, but might provide answers to your predicament. You should go investigate the source of the signal. You are thirsty and need water. Pure water collects in the form of dewdrops high up on grass blades. You'll need to throw an item like a pebblet at the dewdrop to knock it down. If you are really thirsty, you can drink from dirty puddles on the ground, but it is not particularly healthy for you. So like these puddles, Slurp Nasty Water, if I drink them, it will...
Consulting Detective Weevil, hot on the trail.
It will fill up my thirst a little bit, but it'll also make me sick. And the more I drink of it within a 24-hour period, the sicker I will get. Now let's get up top here. Well, let's collect some more things. Sap. Grab some mushrooms. Now this, I need a level 2 axe to be able to chop down. Gathered items automatically populate your hotspots, and you can change them. By default, these first 4 are any weapon. This one is any light. This and this are consumables, and this one is healing. So we can get a pretty good look at the yard from up here. Got some pylons. And of course that dongle is telling me I need to go over there. They won't give you these kind of waypoints for them in the future. You'll have to track them by noticing you're getting closer by the green indicators. And we just discovered the field station. Now to make this tracking of it go away, I have to interact with something here. Okay, we got a resource surveyor. It is unpowered, an ASL terminal that's offline, and the resource analyzer, which is what it's telling me to use anyway. But let's actually go out and get some water first before we advance this. It said it would be high up. There's some. Now you don't have to throw things at it. You can usually hit the base of the plant, and it will fall.
Don't even need to boil it.
Or if it's high, low enough, you can jump up and drink it. Alright, so let's use the resource analyzer.
Well, logic dictates that there are probably more of these stations around. Maybe if I keep searching, I'll find some clues. Or someone.
Alright, so that completed the quest without me actually using it, just opening up the thing. Now I need to look for more science equipment. And analyze a pebblet and analyze a plant fiber. I have the rock bottom quest. So if I go to my quest, I still got the investigate surroundings. I have to look for more science equipment. The resource analyzer in a field station you found earlier can help you figure out a way to make something out of natural resources like pebblets and raw fiber scattered around. So let's analyze these resources. We need to analyze plant fiber. We now know how to make a crude rope, a fiber bandage, and plant slurry. And we got a little bit of brain power. Now the brain power, as I get levels of brain power, it will unlock recipes this way as well, other than just analyzing the materials that you need for them. There are 15 levels of brain power that'll get you all the way up to the tier 3 gear right now. And pebblet was the other thing I needed to analyze. Pebblet spear and pebblet axe. And let's also analyze the mushrooms. Mushroom slurry. Now the next charge I will get will be in about 40 minutes game time, which will be about, I guess, 80 seconds, about a minute and a half. These have a solar charge and they recharge. Now if you find multiple of these stations, each one has its own charge level. So I can drain one, run over to another one, and have full charge on it.
Curious. Ovidoidia.
Alright, so now they want me... The small world is full of hostile creatures to defend yourself against and looming blades of grass to cut. A chopping tool, like an axe, would be perfect to have. The pebblets on the ground can definitely be fashioned into such a tool, given you know the recipe. So it wants me to craft a pebblet axe. Well, now let's go through all the stuff we just unlocked. We got crude rope, textile made of strips of plant fiber, highly useful in recipes and blueprints. Mushroom slurry, a thick paste of blended mushroom bits. Now these icons mean you need a workstation for it. I need a grinder to be able to do this recipe. Same for the plant slurry, a thick paste of blended plant bits. Now one thing they don't mention is, at least not in the early part of the game, is what these slurries are for. Basically these are ground versions of that, and I do know they will attract creatures that would eat those particular things. Pebblet spear, basic stabby weapon to keep creatures at bay, can also be thrown for a deadly amount of damage. This is my primary weapon early in the game. I like it much over the bow. I will craft multiple pebblet spears so I can throw them. The pebblet axe, a basic chopping tool strong enough to hack into plant material. Fiber bandage patches up scrapes and scratches, recovers health over time. It does very little initial healing. It does, but it can heal you almost to full off of one bandage over time, but it takes a long time. And on this tab, you get to see all your different resources. The pebblet is a nugget of hard-packed pebble dust. Not very good as a handheld tool, but can stun on impact when thrown. Plant fiber, a flexible strip of fiber used for weaving and binding. A light, supple sprout for crafting and construction. A combustible sticky goo that oozes from roots and fallen branches. Pure bubble of water. An edible fungus that restores a small amount of hunger. It's just a snack. Now, there are some details like the stun on impact when thrown with a pebblet. You'll only learn if you actually read these little descriptions of the things. Alright, so we need to craft a pebblet axe. So we need a crude rope. And we've actually got a couple charges. We're going to scan the rope. Sprig bow, acorn shovel, eye patch, pebblet hammer, and the canteen. Got our first brain power unlock. Now we have access to the clover armor. And we can analyze the sprig. Gives us access to the spiky sprig, the trail marker, the roasting spit, the sprig fence, and the plant fiber. And we'll get our next charge in about a minute. So now we have a few more things unlocked. The spiky sprig is a weaponized sprig with thorns at the end. Now, there are types of damage. So we have busting damage from the hammers, chopping from the axes, digging from the shovels. The bow with certain arrows will do stabbing damage, as will the spear. The spiky sprig does generic damage. No creature has resistance to generic damage or weakness to it. So generic damage is a good all-around damage type if you don't want to worry about swapping weapons. But the spear is pretty good against most things. The pebblet hammer, a basic busting tool necessary to pound large things into smaller, more portable particles. The acorn shovel is used to dig up grubs. So the grubs are going to be underground. You've got to dig them. Sprig bow, perform attacks from a long distance, require arrows to be useful. Well, I don't currently have access to arrows. But they did tell us to make an axe. I'll go ahead and make one. The eye patch, whether it's for an injury strategy or just plain fashion, this eye patch will do the job. It boosts my attack rating but lowers my damage resist. The clover armor gives me a fuller benefit, and it's light armor. Has very little resistance. Resistance is a modifier to all incoming damage, and then defense stops that amount of damage. So the heavier you're hit, the better. The heavier you are hit, the better resistance is over defense. A thin hood crafted from clovers and plant fibers. The poncho is a breezy poncho crafted from clovers and plant fibers. And the shin guards are thin, damp leg armor. But I need clovers for all of this stuff. Now, there are set bonuses if you are wearing all of the same type of armor. The clover gives you moist, which basically means you lose thirst slower. The canteen is a pouch made from grub hides that can be used to carry 2 scoops of liquid to transfer to storage or to slurp. The roasting spit is a spit for roasting and illuminating the darkness. You can tell food is ready when it looks tasty. The trail marker transmits a trackable visual signal so you can find your way back to a location. The sprig fence is a flimsy fence made of sprigs and crude rope, great for creating a nice perimeter around more elaborate structures. And we also now, because these are needed for some of the things we unlocked, we have more info. Acorn shells are hard hollow shell useful for construction. Dry grass chunks are brittle fiber harvested from dry grass. Thistle needles are pointy barbs from a thistle plant. Gnat fuzz is dull gray hairs taken from a gnat. Clover leaves, single leaf from the top of a clover. Grub hide is plush warm skin harvested from a common grub. So we completed that one. Let's recollect some of these materials we used up. And let's go ahead and start building some things. I like to build trail markers near each one of these science stations. Let's see, where do I want to put it? I guess right here. We want it so like that. Now we do need clover leaves to finish this, but you can start building things without the materials you need to put it together. You can just lay down a blueprint for it, basically. But I like to use these, actually turn that a little more. I want it there. And let's actually put it right there. But yeah, I like to use these because they will actually show up things on your HUD. Right now I can see, if I go to the map, I can see the field station there. It has that icon and it's that color. I can see the baseball. But if I actually want them to show up on the map, I've got to set a waypoint. And I can see my waypoint from a good distance. Well, the trail markers also show up on your HUD when you get them to complete. So let's go get us some clovers. And top off our sprigs and stuff. You can block attacks when you have a weapon equipped. Time it right to perform a perfect block. Alright, here's some aphid honeydew. So we got a handful of clovers. Let's go ahead and get some more. Not all of them fell down. Where's the other one? There it is. Hey, aphid. Alright, we need a hammer to bust up that pebble. But now that we have enough clovers, we can let's go ahead and chop this too. Get some dry grass. Where did it go? Now if you stand still, you can see that little glow about things. That's a good way to find resources if you're having a hard time seeing them, especially if they're dark. Things that you can interact with, like the pebblets will glow over there, should glow a little bit every now and then. Yeah, see them highlight. Alright, so you can choose an icon and a color, and I'm going to use the same color as this pretty much. Because if you look at the map, while you can't name these locations, there's the field station. If I hover over my trail marker, it says field station waypoint because I used that icon. If I use a different icon, like say Z, and go to the map, it will say resting spot. So all of these have default designations, and you can find out what they are by creating trail markers that use them basically. And they will show up on your map and with an indicator as to how far they are. And so I like to do that so I don't have to look on the map and set a waypoint. I've got a trail marker set up, for this area. Now we should have enough charges to finish analyzing some other stuff. Let's get the dried grass. Plant lamp, stem pallet, plank pallet, sap sconce, and a torch. The sap gives us the workbench, and the clover leaf gives us the lean-to, the storage basket, the clover table, and the plant fiber. Now while you're on this page, the game is not paused. So if you're going through here...
It's getting quite late. I should construct some shelter and get some sleep.
If you're going through here looking at things like I have been, time is passing by. Aphid honeydew, a sweet secretion of aphids that restores a small amount of hunger and thirst. This does thirst and food. And you notice it doesn't need to be analyzed. We have red ant parts, sturdy chunks of red ant that seem useful in a variety of crafts. Grass planks, broad flexible plank, perfect for fortifications, acquired by chopping down grass with an axe. And it is unanalyzed, so this is something I can analyze. The plant lamp is a stationary light source that illuminates the area around it. The sap sconce is a simple wall-mounted torch, convenient and efficient. The clover table is a simple table made of clovers. That's mainly a decoration. Most of the stuff on this tab is. If you see that, it was letting me know I'm thirsty. That's what that noise was. And I was still looking here. Okay, the roasting spit, lean-to. Sleep to bypass the extra dangerous nighttime or set a respawn point to return to in the event of death. The workbench allows crafting of armors and weapons with advanced materials. The storage basket is a primitive basket that holds up to 20 stacks of items. It comes with marking technology so you can tell what's inside from the outside. Not very secure. Your plank pallet, a platform on which grass planks can be neatly stacked. Your stem pallet, a platform on which weed stems can be neatly stacked. And we have the torch. Provides light in dark places held in the weak hand. Now these light decorations have no life to them. They will go forever. But your torch has a limited durability, and it can't be repaired. When it wears out, it's gone. But they want us to build, and they give us icons since this is a starter quest of where everything we'll need will be. But we're going to get up on this just to be above the ground and create our lean-to. We're also going to set up a roasting spit up here, right in the hollow, and a basket to store stuff. If I can find a spot where I can put it. Let's put it up here. Alright, so we need 3 crude rope for that. Let's go ahead and make 3 crude rope. Now I can start storing some things in here so that I don't have to carry them on me. Now you don't want to store food in here that something will eat. If I put the aphid honeydew in here, ants will be attracted to it and will eat it out of it. If I put the mushrooms in here, the weevils will come over here and eat them. So there's our lean-to, which reminds me I didn't look at that quest. Construct a lean-to so you can sleep through the night. Resting spots like the lean-to are able to be set as respawn points to return to in the event of your death. Now that will show up as an icon when you're close to it. Alright, I need more dried grass and more pebblets. Let's get some more plant fiber while we're at it too. Dried grass. There's a dried grass. And any more dried grass in the immediate vicinity? Well, there's a lot of dried grass over this way. Let's go grab some. Alright, we got a lot of dried grass. We got another quest here. Small snack. You are hungry. It'd be a good idea to learn where to find food. Mushrooms can be eaten raw and are commonly found in damp areas. Try finding one to eat. Well, I've got mushrooms.
Choke it down, Pete.
And actually, I'm about to get to the point where I'm in critical thirst. There's a dewdrop.
I could use something to drink.
Yep. Drink or die. 2 minutes.
Nice and clean.
There we go. Let's actually eat the aphid honeydew since it provides both thirst and hunger. There we go. Now we're topped off in everything except for a little bit of thirst. Get back up here and finish our roasting spit. Can be used to roast raw meat. Now, aphids like to run and hide up on grass.
Yeah.
Now, it's not easy to get them down from there because the bodies don't really drop. So if you want to collect them, you generally have to get them down on the ground or find a way to parkour up to where they dropped. Because even if I cut down this tree, I mean this grass, it is not going to drop the aphid. There we go. Now I've topped off my water. So there's another aphid around here somewhere. I just heard it chirp. It might be easier to get to. But let's see if I can't parkour up to that aphid. I can't even get back on the rock. Get on there. There we go. This way. Nope. Didn't get up high enough before I got knocked off. Yeah, that one I can't jump up onto from that direction. We're going to have to go this way. Somewhere. Or we could try getting up on this to get a little bit more altitude. Nope, we're running into that one. And I can't jump high enough to get onto that. I could move this storage basket over somewhere where I could try and use it. There we go. Now where is that dead aphid? I've lost track of it. All of that work and I lost track of where the aphid is. I don't even see it anymore. Oh well. I hear another aphid. Alright, they want me to craft a torch now. Craft a torch to light up dark areas of the yard and to help navigate your surroundings at night. The torch requires 2 crude rope that I don't currently have. And I don't have the plant fiber for it, so I'm going to need a little bit more plant fiber. It's going to be a little difficult to locate the plant fiber at night. There was one.
Look at the size of that thing. It's probably the size of a bathroom scale?
So we found the mysterious machine. I still haven't seen the plant fiber I need. It's real hard to spot at night. There's one. There's one. We'll grab that. Now we can craft 2 crude rope and a torch.
My mom always says I light up a room.
So that gives, yeah, I passed by some that was hard to spot at night in the dark. Alright, let's go ahead and put our torch back up. Don't want to be burning it up unnecessarily, because what we're going to do is just go to sleep. Now, sleeping passes 8 hours fairly quickly. But it also drains your hunger and your thirst. But the dewdrops form mostly at night and early morning. So that you probably saw that one spawn right in front of me. Now let's see if I can see that dead aphid. I think it despawned because I didn't get to it in time.
Taking a look.
There's another aphid. Now, one thing I can do is make the aphid fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Get down here. Come here, aphid. Where'd you go? I hear him chirping. Where'd he go? And I used up all my rocks trying to hit him. There we go. Dead aphid. That one took a while to track down. We can scan the aphid meat.
Science.
We can make stuffed aphid and aphid slippers. So aphid slippers, a pair of slippers made from slippery aphid meat, not very effective defensively, but makes you run like the dickens. The stuffed aphid is cute and cuddly little friend that is dead, by the way. And raw aphid meat, whole raw aphid, bad idea to eat it uncooked, but the potential for a plump roast is undeniable. It will make you sick if you eat raw food. Mite fuzz, vibrant red hairs taken from a mite. That's needed for the slippers. Now, one of the reasons I put my roasting spit up here, if I'm cooking weevil, ants kill weevils for food. So if I'm up here cooking weevil, ants will come up to your roasting spit and eat the meat off of it. So I like to put it up in an area where it's a little difficult for them to get to. They still can jump up here. It's not a perfect protection. And while we're at this, let's go ahead and we need a rope to make the pebblet hammer. And we need more pebblets. Now it should be roasted. Yep.
Not bad.
Now the roasts doesn't need to be analyzed. Juicy roasted aphid slows and restores a large amount of hunger. So it gives you a well-fed bonus so you get hungry slower. And the meals, the roast, are some of the best healing in the game. But they don't stack. So each one will take up an inventory slot if you carry a lot of roasted meat. But it is some of the best healing in the game because you can eat it even when you're not hungry, just for the healing. But yeah, the roasted meat is some of your best healing for when you're doing tough fights. That's what you want to bring with you. Because the bandages are very slow healing for out of combat. But when you want combat heals, you want fast healing. Analyze a grass plank at a resource analyzer and build a workbench. You didn't... Yeah, I guess you did eat it. That was pretty quick. I didn't see you doing the eating animation or anything. Maybe the body fell through. And that's the reason the ant just wandered off. But yeah, the ants will hunt the weevils. There we go. Now I should be able to make a pebblet hammer. So I can get more pebblets a little easier off this pebble. Each one of these should drop about 7. So that gets me a stack of pebblets. I want to go ahead and craft a couple of spears. And I've got enough materials for 2 spears. Now I want to reorganize my inventory a little bit. Let's put the axe and the spears up. Let's put the axe and the pebblets up. There we go. There we go. Now I've got it kind of the way I want it. Spears in slot 1, axes in slot 2. Now I could go down here and pin things to it, but I like it better when it's allowing me to toggle between them, especially when I get more items. So I like them assigned the way they are right now. I heard an aphid. I don't know where it ran off to. There it is. Now, spears are really powerful when thrown. I really like them. Like I said, it's my go-to weapon early in the game before I start getting higher tier gear. I like it over the bow because the bow doesn't do much damage, the first bow you get. I hear a weevil. There you are. As soon as this aphid is roasted, I'll get to you. Doesn't take too awfully long for these things to cook. Alright. So if I fight with the spear, it takes 3 hits to kill a weevil. But, let's see if I can find another weevil. Oh, there's mushrooms over here. They usually head toward mushrooms. If I throw the spear... If I throw the spear, 1 shot. Now we've got some more things to analyze. We have raw weevil meat.
Science.
Stuffed weevil and the weevil shield. And the weevil nose that gives us the gas mask. And actually, let's go ahead and start cooking this weevil while we're looking at our new info. So the weevil shield requires grub hides. Hopefully this shell will defend you better than the weevil it came from. The gas mask requires gnat fuzz and stink bug parts. A wearable weevil face that filters hazardous haze. The stuffed weevil is just a displayable snooter. Unidentifiable piece of a stink bug can be used in various crafting recipes, and there are 2 more recipes it's used in that I don't know yet. Fully intact weevil snooter mouth. Raw meat from a mushroom hunting weevil. The deep color and wafts of fresh fungi promise a snack packing an umami punch, but don't eat it raw. So yeah, that lets you know to look for weevils near mushrooms, and that weevils are attracted to mushrooms. So if you put like mushrooms in your storage basket, they're going to come raid your storage basket. When you get access to the slurry, you can use mushroom slurry as bait for weevils. I hear another aphid. They're all over the place just chirping at me most of the time. Alright, so now we need to build another thing. We need to build the plank pallet. We need 4 crude rope, so we are probably going to need a lot more plant fiber. Well, we'll get that by chopping this tree down. Cutting this down. Yeah, you see it breaks into several pieces, and these stumps give you plant fiber. I still need 1 more, so let's chop another one down. Now, if you don't cut down the stumps, the grass won't respawn. So if you want it to respawn, you've got to chop down these stumps. Alright, so now I should have enough to make the crude rope. I don't want to make all 5, I just want to make 4. Now we've got a plank pallet. So I can gather up all of these grass planks. I can only carry 5. You see down in the bottom right, it's got my hauling capacity. And stack them on here. So I don't have to worry about them despawning. And that is 8 of them. Let's grab 1 and analyze it.
Science.
Now that unlocked a lot of building recipes. Oh, and we do have a new quest, Workbench Woes. Some of the crafting recipes you've collected are too heavy duty to be made with your bare hands. Using nearby materials, build a workbench to enable more advanced crafting. Alright, now back here, we have a solid wall that can keep insects outside. Like all buildings, it can be damaged by attacks. We have a half variant with crenellations,
It's nature's lollipops.
a windowed variant, and a triangle variant, and a grass door that can be opened and closed. We have a grass table, simple table made of grass planks. Weed stem is a large, sturdy building resource from felled dandelions and other stubborn growths like husky weeds. And of course the weevil roast is roasted and delicious meat of a weevil. Now, one of the great things about this is basically anything from the storage and utilities and the decor tabs, you can relocate even after it's built. So I can actually relocate that after I've built it. I can relocate this plank pallet even when it has stuff on it. And you can relocate this a pretty good distance. I could run pretty far before it would snap back. And I could right click to make it snap back. But if you are aggroed and get into combat, it's going to snap back immediately. So if you're hauling this long distance, it's a good idea to kind of set it down every now and then so that if something aggroes you, it doesn't snap all the way back and you have to go hunt it back down. There was another grass plank up here. There's one up there. And there's one right there. So there's actually 11. Unless there's more hiding up there. I see you.
Nature's lollipops.
Where'd you go? I saw you. There you are. More meat. Unfortunately, each meat takes up an inventory slot, but right now I don't need a lot of inventory slots. As a matter of fact, I can stash some stuff that I don't need here, like the weevil snouts I won't be using anytime soon. And let's go ahead and eat
Better than
another
starving,
mushroom,
I think.
just so we can defrag this. There we go. And now we only have one stack of mushrooms, and we can end up eating them up. I only grab them early on to use them in the resource surveyor. For food, I'm generally going to be eating the roast because it fills me up more. Or grabbing aphid honeydew. I don't know what killed that aphid. Aphid honeydew, because it does thirst as well. Speaking of thirst, the later it gets in the day, the less likely you are to find dewdrops. They'll despawn. Like I said, it's early morning and night is the best time to get your dewdrops. Let's go ahead and also set up a stem pallet. We're going to need 4 more crude rope, and we're going to need 2 more grass chunks. Now we're going to need more plant fiber.
Nose.
There's a lot of it in the immediate vicinity here. Let's go ahead and grab some more sprigs while we're collecting this stuff. Yeah, a lot of this game is going to end up being resource gathering. I'll trim a lot of that out later when I'm just running around basically harvesting things. Yeah, I can use more of these. And I actually do need 4, so I need surplus plant fiber. Alright, that should be a decent amount of plant fiber for right now. I need to make 4 ropes. Now I need dried grass. There's some. Where did it drop? Right here. 2 was all I really needed. So we now have a stem pallet. Let's move it over here to where the dandelion is. And chop down a few dandelions. Ran out of endurance. Oh, you scared the hell out of me, Nat.
Say intentions. Your flight path is not cleared.
Freaking Nat. They're harmless. They just kind of boop into you. But yeah, I was not expecting him to be up in my face like that. Alright, so we just broke that one down. And it dropped some dandelion tuft. Let's go ahead and chop down this other one since we got this pallet here. Each of these stems of dandelions drop 8 plant fiber. And I think they drop 6 weed stems. And then have a random chance for dandelion tufts. And I just noticed the Tropicop Puncho, so let's go get some juice. Juice does a little bit on your food bar and a lot more on the actual thirst meter. And it'll respawn in a few days and another drop will drop out. And where am I going? My thing is over here. Alright, so let's drag this back over to our science station. So we can analyze the stems. Let's put it right there.
Science.
That gives us a bunch more building materials. And almost another brain power unlock. So we have stem walls, sturdy rustic wall, windowed version of it, a triangle version of it, a portal to the other side of the wall, just an open door frame, a sturdy door. Now you don't have to build these separately. This door frame is an open door that will never have a door. This comes with its own frame. Strong door built entirely from weed stems, and then the support structures. Now these are what you need if you have multi-level support turned on. Sturdy structure made from weed stem logs, the scaffoldings, triangular bracket variant, upright diagonally halved variant, and a wedged variant. But those are what you need to support larger buildings, if that feature is active on your settings. Now, old and sticky, but moderately restores your thirst. Now, it doesn't mention that it also does a tiny bit of hunger. And the dandelion tuft is a fluffy puff of a dandelion stuff. Could be used to drift down from great heights. Now that, you equip that in your accessory slot, and when you jump, you can hit shift, left shift, to activate it and drift down using it. But it has durability. So you really want to wait till you're pretty much lower to the ground before you activate it, so you're not burning it up unnecessarily. But we don't need the spare. We can stash this extra fiber. And there we go. Now we still need to build a workbench. And we're going to build it down here on the ground. It'll give me something to jump on to help me get up on the rock. Alright. Next step, advanced bushcraft. Learn how to make use of the resources around you to up your chances of survival. The resource analyzer spat out a recipe for armor that seems like a good starting point. Alright, to make my armor, because you have to have a workbench to make this stuff. Alright, the clover armor, I need rope and clover leaves. So I need 4 rope and 10 clover leaves, 13 clover leaves, and 6 rope, and a few more sprigs. So I'm going to need a lot more plant fiber. So I need 6 rope. Hi, ant. I need 6 ropes. That's going to be 18 plant fiber right there.
Hey, Fid.
And while I'm here, oh, that's grass. I need the clover. I need about 13 clover. That piece fell in the water. I'll grab it in a sec. All of those just fell in the water. I need a lot of clover, so I'm going to grab a lot of clover. There's another one. Now down here we have clay. This stuff does respawn, but I require a shovel to dig it up, and I don't have the shovel yet. I need acorn parts to make the shovel, which I will get a little later. Now we're going to need about 20 plant fiber, hopefully before the sun goes down. One more. There we go. Now we'll have the basics of the, I went the wrong way. We'll have the basics of the survival quest taken care of, and have the startings of an outpost here. This isn't where I really like to build my main base, but it'll work for now. We have to use the workbench to craft the armor. We're going to craft all 3 pieces here. We need 6 rope. If I'd been paying attention, I could have crafted 5 and then 1. That would have been the smart way to do it. Alright, so clover hood, clover poncho, clover shin guards. Alright, now, when you're on here, if you hit tab, you can select different ingredients to hot craft with, or hit S to go back, or go to a specific entry. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can, like I could hot craft the ropes, that's what this icon means, without having to go to the rope page. And then go back to what I was doing to build the actual thing. But now that we've got our armor, let's go ahead and equip it.
Keep me safe? Safer.
Alright, so this is all light armor, so it does a stamina increase required to swing my weapons. But it also lets me stay fuller for longer. And the set bonus is moist, you're squishy, and retain water well. So I thirst less frequently. Grab that roast. Now all of this meat will eventually spoil if I don't eat it fast enough. And I can stash another 10 fiber. Another thing I didn't highlight, it says nearby storage. It will use stuff in the storage. That's the reason there was, instead of a full stack of 10, there were only 2 plant fibers there. Because it will use stuff from nearby storage. So when you build your crafting stations, you kind of want them centralized near your storage so they can reach as many of the storage areas as possible. But being able to relocate items, you can relocate full chests and basically use them to transport large amounts of material. But I like to build little outposts in different areas with at least a basket for when I'm hunting stuff in that area. And we will eventually progress the quest. But right now I was going over a little bit of the basics, and I almost forgot. There are granola bars in here, as well as the spacer safety test. It was done August 8th, 1989, around 2 p.m., Tully Backyard by Dr. Wendell Tully. Power fluctuations are within an acceptable range. The machine itself continues to operate as expected. Weatherproofing of the platform components is holding up quite well. The pylons, however, are a finicky trio. Maintaining the beam angles requires regular obstruction removal. The yard is simply too alive for precision instruments. O Euclidean space, you fickle mistress. Reminder, check embiggening cell diagnostics before end-of-day protocols. And there are all these whiteboards. Now this is basically just explaining the resource analyzer to me. Get different components, analyze them, it gives you ideas. But some of these whiteboards will give you hints on where things are, or things to look for. But there are usually little hidden collectibles in these stations or near them. So there are 9 more on spacer development. And as for places, we found some sort of tech pad that's seemingly related to shrinking. And the Tropicop Puncho, a Puncho branded juice box of Tropicop flavor. Now all of these should be sorted in, like, this area is going to be like certain landmarks. Then you'll have all your Puncho flavors together, all of your field stations together, and then other landmarks later on. But it's starting to get dark. Yeah, about 8 o'clock is when I like to go to bed. I get up, it wakes me up about 4. See, is there any dew in the immediate vicinity? Because I am kind of thirsty. There's one. I'm going to have to go all the way up the hill to get to it. Alright, let's go around. I can't quite reach it. Let's put up the axe. I don't want to use durability on the axe or start where the... Damn it.
Fiat Lux!
There it is.
Nice and clean.
I didn't want to use durability on the axe. I didn't want to use durability on that either, but I was holding shift. And let's eat some mushrooms
Worse
up
than my mom's Brussels sprouts.
to get full right before we sleep. Of course, when we wake up in the morning, we're going to be hungry and thirsty again. But we will call this an episode. It's been a couple days. So thank you all for watching. And hopefully, we'll see you next time.